Hello there, everyone. I'm ShadowRock, and we have another Udon interview with our special guest here, Matt Moylan. You want to introduce yourself?
Hello.
And what you do at Udon?
Hey, I'm Matt Moylan. I'm Director of Publishing at Udon. I've worked at Udon about almost 19 years. It'll be 19 years in June.
Wow.
Before that, I worked at Dreamwave, so I worked on some other Mega Man stuff too.
Oh yeah, I've heard a lot about the Mega Man Dreamwave comics from back then.
Yeah, so if you want to get into that, maybe after we can chat about that. But yeah, let's talk about some Udon stuff.
Heck yeah. Before that, what's your personal history with the Mega Man series in general?
Oh, well, when I was a kid, I definitely remember renting Mega Man 3 from the corner store, because I absolutely remember I thought Snake Man was the coolest boss. And since then I played various games, played a few X games, played a few Zero games, and I didn't really super get into okay, I'm gonna go back and play a ton of games until I started working at Udon, and I got a free copy. Capcom gave me a copy of ZX Advent. Sorry, ZX Advent, because I'm Canadian.
True.
But it's so I thought that was cool. Wow, I've been away from Mega Man for a while, and this feels like this is the natural evolution of where Mega Man should have gone. He's actually becoming the bosses now instead of just getting their weapons. So I went back and played the first ZX, and then I might as well go back and play a bunch of the X games, because those were always great. Actually, I remember I remember playing Mega Man in base when I was in college, because I remember, wow, Mega Man looks way cooler now than he did when I was a kid, classic Mega Man. So I remember playing that in college, in around 2001, something like that. But yeah, otherwise I just played Mega Man games over the years. I never played a Legends game because I never had a PS1 or PS2. I never had a PlayStation until PS3. And I never really played much of the RPGs, the more RPG-ish games, the Battle Network and Star Force. I tried playing a Battle Network and it's not really what I want out of Mega Man. This is a different kind of game with a Mega Man theme around it. So, but that's fine.
Yeah,
Other people like those games.
Fair enough. What is your favorite Mega Man sub-series? Is it ZX or another one?
Yeah, I think it is, even though I don't think it's necessarily the best game, but I think it's my favorite. Just for, I said, how it's it's cool. It's a natural evolution of Mega Man. He actually turns into, whether it's he actually turns into the 8 bosses in Advent, or he just turns into the 4 different modes, gets the powers, the biometals from the bosses, and gets new forms, not just a new weapon. So I really like those, but I think probably the best games the early X games. Probably the most polished what Mega Man should be games.
Yeah, the ZX Advent's thing where you transform to the bosses is a really cool idea. I wish maybe they'll bring back in the future, but all forms weren't created equal, so yeah, it wasn't the best. But
yeah, and I don't like the Metroidvania aspect of it. That drives me nuts. But
yeah, that needed some more time in the oven too. But let's get on to some Udon questions. So, Free Comic Book Day just happened over the weekend, and we had the release of Mega Man number 0 there. And we also know that Mega Man Timelines begins this month of May through September, which has one-shots from each of the major sub-series in the Robot Timeline. Is there anything else you would like to share about this year's plans for the new Mega Man comics?
Well, in general, we're gonna try to keep moving ahead with one Mega Man comic a month. That might be a special one-shot, it might be a mini-series. Timelines is it is not a usual mini-series, but it is a mini-series that they're kind of related. And there's some connections between them, but we might, there might be a regular 1 to 5 miniseries or a shorter miniseries, or depends how things go. if all the books like are selling great, maybe we'll increase our plans in the future. But for the first year, so basically now until next, April, May, June, there'll definitely be one Mega Man comic a month. Plus plus the other projects we're doing. So, that doesn't include if we do some more stuff with Color Art Rising, Hitoshi Ariga's manga stories, or doing the Archie collection. So it doesn't include that, but we plan to do one new Mega Man comic a month.
I did have a question about Hitoshi Ariga, actually. He was one of the first people I thought of when Udon announced that they were working on new Mega Man comics. Was there any chance that he might contribute to future comics?
Yeah, I actually am going to ask him this week if he wants to. I don't know if he has time to both write and draw something, but maybe at least write something. But I'm going to ask him this week if he wants to. Do you want to do this part of the Udon comics? And see what he says, because I know he likes this part of Mega Man, which is I won't like specifically tell you, but he just said, I always do classic, but I also really like this part of the franchise. Could I do something with that if I have a chance? So I'll talk to him about that.
That's awesome. I really liked his work with Mega Man Mega Mix and Giga Mix, so that'd be nice.
Yeah, those books are great. Like my favorite Ariga story is the Copy Mega Man story. It's like serious, man. I love the translated into English at the end. It goes something like because Copy Mega Man sacrifices himself at the end in Ariga's version, but the line is like everybody, all the characters, everyone wanted to yell out his name, but he didn't have a name to call because he's just Copy Mega Man. So Mega Man just calls out and just calls him Mega Man. It's like, oh, Mega Man, no. So Ariga's stuff is awesome, and then the Gigamix books, like the main story is kind of like, it's like Mega Man's version of like Dragon Ball. Like just all these powerful guys fighting and getting as many characters in as possible, and
yeah, good stuff. But moving on back to Udon's comics, we know that Mega Man Time Wind's #1 should be dropping this month in May. Do you have a release date for that?
We're pretty close on the edge of getting it out on time. It was planned for the last week of May, but it might get pushed into like the first week of June. But we will catch up because the Mega Man X issue is also nearly done, and the Zero issue is totally done. So we'll catch up.
Gotcha.
And we're also going to, for the people who couldn't go to Free Comic Book Day, in about 2 weeks, there'll be a way that those people can get that story. So if you're a fan of our Street Fighter comics, you know that after a few weeks we offer a version of the Street Fighter Free Comic Book Day issue on our website. So if anybody who didn't have a comic store near them or just couldn't find it, if you can wait a couple weeks, you can get a copy of that comic too.
Yeah, I saw some comments from people saying that either their comic store wasn't able to get them in, or they just didn't have one near them. So that would be great for them.
Yeah, how Free Comic Book Day works, it's not free for the stores, it's not free for us really either, because we got to pay to make all the art and everything, and we generally make it at a loss. The comic stores, they pay about like 25 cents a comic instead of their usual like $2 a comic. So it's a expense for them as well, so they have to decide which books they think are going to sell good in their store, and maybe not every store thinks they have the audience for a Mega Man comic. But we did pretty well. We shipped over 90,000 copies, which I think is our second best Free Comic Book Day ever for a single book. We had 1 year previously where Street Fighter made it to about 100. I think that was around the time when Street Fighter V came out.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
But, yeah, there's a lot of interest. It might be because it's Mega Man. The Mega Man comic is an all ages comic, where the Street Fighter ones are usually teen plus. But I'm glad that a lot of stores picked it up, and also glad that don't have to get into too much detail, but there's a lot of like turmoil happening in the comic industry with distributors right now, and we had to move our free comic book day issue from one distributor to another, and stores could only get it if they reordered, and they only had, instead of having like 2 months to decide if they wanted to order, they only had 2 weeks to make a new order. And we got pretty much the same orders as we did from the original distributor. So that means pretty much there might have been some people who didn't buy it and some new people who did, but that means mostly everybody reordered it. So we were really happy to see that.
Yeah, maybe the all ages thing does play into it, because I know at the comic store I went to, they did have Mega Man over in the kids section. There's no line going up to it, it's just go up there and pick it up. Alright, so next question. There has been a lot of cover variants announced for the Timeline series in general. And so far we have 8 confirmed variants for Classic Timelines #1 alone, and some of them being retail exclusive, of course. Can you talk about the decision behind producing these numerous covers?
Yeah, that's the way the industry works now, and it's kind of, I always say it's not, it's interesting. It's usually that there's a certain group of people who are maybe not necessarily interested in comics, but interested in art, and for some reason right now, they want their art on a comic book. I use the example in Futurama. There's a Futurama episode in the future where everybody, when they go to an art gallery, all the paintings are painted on like fat guys' bellies, and they're like, "That's weird. That's so weird." And people tell Fry, "Oh, that's where you paint art. You paint art on a fat guy's belly. That's what you do." So right now, for some reason, a lot of people want their art on a comic book, even if they're not necessarily comic book readers. So that's what all the variant covers are for collectors who want to collect covers. And yeah, generally we try to have fun and we have more free reign, like more options with the variant covers. Our cover A for all the Mega Man books, we're aiming to make them all related to the story. Like if you've seen, let's see, what are some of our covers? Well, like for Mega Man Timelines, cover A is Mega Man, like a Mega Man 11 style Mega Man with some 11 bosses, and so that's totally relevant to the story that we're doing in that issue. But we've got a variant cover that is the incentive cover is like a whole bunch of Mega Man characters from different franchises all running together, right? And that's just a for fun cover, obviously, right? And even in this case, even the B cover is relevant to the story. Mega Man fighting all the Mets, that's also relevant to the story. So,
interesting.
So some of the B covers might be, but just know that anything B or above might be just for fun.
Gotcha. So let's say in a perfect world that the Timelines comics do sell well, what can you share about Udon's vision for new Mega Man comics in the second year and beyond? Is there room for any one individual sub-series to expand into an ongoing series?
Yeah, they could. I mean, we definitely want to do... We know we're definitely going to do more with X, because... And that's the reason for that... Kind of the reason for this whole thing at the beginning. At the start, we wanted to give kind of as many different kinds of Mega Man fans something to try out, something for them. So, because Archie pretty much stuck to classic and with a little bit of X. So we want to give, like, if you like Legends, you get a Legends issue. If you like the Archie comics, you get to see the Archie comics again in collected form, and we're gonna have bonus stories there. But there's never really been a Zero or a ZX comic besides mangas. So we want to have as many different types of Mega Man out there at the beginning, so everybody gets something. And then after that, I think we're gonna our next project is gonna focus on X, because Archie did so much focus on classic, for one.
That's true.
And then two, we're also doing we're colorizing some more Ariga comics, and we are working on new editions of collections of his black and white version, like original black and white version. And we've also got the Archie collections coming, so we wanted to sort of give a little break from new classic material while we get that going, because it's just like we don't want to put out 3 or 4 versions of classic Mega Man at once. So I think after Timelines, we're going to focus on X for a little bit, and then we'll try out some more different things. We might even kind of have a spacer issue, like do right now it's planned as a X number of issues. I don't know if that's funny to say, but it's a mini series. But we might have to take, because we want to have one artist draw the whole miniseries, so we might have to take a little break in between and have like a special one shot to give that artist a month break between issues of a different property. But yeah, so it's kind of what we're roughly planning right now. But yeah, that any miniseries or one shot could turn into an ongoing if they sell well. If suddenly the ZX one shot is the best selling of all of them, we might have to rethink, some of our plans for next year, but I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah. Definitely open to reader input of letting us know what you like that we're doing.
Definitely. I'm all for an X comic. We got that little tease during the Archie series, and I want more personally, so that would be great.
Cool. We also we're going for a diversity of creators too. So we've got Udon, like artists and writers. We've got Udon people. We've got people who've worked on Mega Man before. We've got Mega Man super fans. So we've got all kinds of creators working on it.
That's awesome. So, is there any chance that we may eventually see a new story set in Bound Network and Star Force? I know they're tied up with rights issues and all that, but is there a possibility?
Yeah, well, everything is up to Capcom's approval, but we've definitely specifically asked them. They said, yeah, we'd love to hear pitches for Battle Network and Star Force comics. So, as long as we can propose them something that they like.
All right. At that point, let's go ahead and get into the Mega Man ZX comic that's coming up. I know that you're the story writer on it. And in general, Mega Man ZX is a pretty underrepresented series, with it only having 2 games and not a ton of outside material other than a couple of mangas that came out. So it is awesome to see the series back in the spotlight. Was there any particular reason that made you want to write the story for Mega Man ZX Timelines?
Yeah, just because, like I said, that's my favorite era of Mega Man. Kind of what brought me back to playing Mega Man games. But I just think it's fun, and there's a lot of stuff to explore in there. So I'm gonna this issue. All the issues are different. They're like you talk to Daniel, and he's pretty much adapting an early part of the Mega Man X games and expanding on it. Whereas what's something different that I can tell you about? The Mega Man Zero issue by Ian Flynn. That's going to take place between 2 games. So that's something different. So that's pretty much an original story that takes place between 2 games. So my issue is I'm not starting at the beginning of ZX like Daniel's doing on Mega Man X, but I am going to be in the middle of the first game and partly retell some stuff and partly expand on some stuff. So
yeah, I did see that.
Hopefully that'll be fun. Lots of action, lots of different forms.
Awesome. I did see the ZX1 pseudoroids in the background on the cover A artwork, so I was wondering if it was going to be the first ZX, and there you go.
Yeah, in our initial promo art, I put I forget if it was Ash or Gray. I put one of the Advent. We put all the Mega Mans together in the promo art, and I definitely put it was the Advent version. Yeah, I guess it was. I don't know. I can't remember. I'll have to look at it. They look. I try to think. Anyway, it was definitely the Advent version. And I decided after that, no, I should probably do the first ZX and do Vent. So I did. Vent is the character that we chose. It's hard to tell them apart in Advent 1 if it's the guy or the girl, but
True.
Yeah, so he's going to be our focus character.
Speaking of the cover, There's been, online discussion about it. People saying that obviously Vint in the cover is a bit more cartoony compared to the rest of the lineup we have. Can you talk about your team up with Dax Gordon for the comics artwork?
Yeah, I've been working with Dax for years. We did a webcomic for Namco called Bravo Man, and that was like a 4-panel webcomic. We did 300 installments of that. We collected it in a book, and we did an animated series of 12 episodes. They're just 12 5-minute episodes. And Rob Paulson from... So he's the voice of the original Raphael, and he's Pinky and Pinky and the Brain, and he's the voice of Yakko and Animaniacs. He voiced Bravo. He was the voice of Bravo Man. So that was a fun project to do, and me and Dax love working together. And I know some of the Bravo Man comics, if you just search it, you'll say, oh, they're silly gag comics, but some of the later ones, we did some pretty fun action. And Dax can definitely do it. And he's, we know people want Mega Man to be kind of anime looking, so he's gonna lean into that on the interiors for sure. He's about halfway through the issue right now, and I think it's turning out great.
Yeah, that's good to hear. In general, with the tone, with the story, do you want to go for serious, comedic, a mix of both?
Yeah, there can be a mix of both, but they generally lean towards being serious. Like, serious with a few jokes here and there. The Zero issue was the most lighthearted issue of all of them that we've worked on so far, for sure. Because that was just fun, Mega Man's back, let's do something that doesn't super matter, and just do something fun. That'll get some, hopefully, new people interested in Mega Man as well. But let's see, the Classic, X, Zero, and ZX books, they're all, about the seriousness of an X game or a ZX game, And then the Legends one-shot by David it's a little bit more lighthearted again, because the Legends games are kind of lighthearted.
Yeah.
At times. So it's maybe the least serious of all of them, but it's still definitely fun and has action as well.
All right, awesome. And is there anything else that you want to share today about the story in the ZX one-shot?
You'll see... Like I said, we'll see lots of forms for Vint, and you will see lots of action. You'll see definitely at least one Pseudoroid, and other villain characters. Well, when it gets announced, you'll see what villains are also going to be in the story on the B cover. How about that?
Oh, nice. And then my last question concerning ZX Comics. This is more like way in the future, but we know ZX Advent came out and it had a secret ending that left the series on a huge cliffhanger, and it sounds like the third game got canceled early on. Is there any chance that cliffhanger could eventually be addressed in the future if Capcom allows?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like in our brains, like, oh, do you think we could do, excuse me, could we do ZX3? Could we do Legends 3? And they'll probably say no, you can't do that. But maybe we'll see if the comics are doing good. Maybe we convince them to do like a what if Udon's, not call it that, but what if Udon continued the story of ZX, or Udon continued the story of Legends? And this is not the official game story, but here's an idea that could happen after that. Yeah. We'll have to see. That's not something that we're gonna try to spring on Capcom yet. We'll wait until we a bit established before asking if we can do stuff like that.
Yeah, of course. That's pretty much all I had for the ZX Comics for now. But going on to Udon's other books, in general, what are Udon's plans for Mega Man books beyond the comics?
Oh, we're doing so much stuff. So we've got, right now we launched earlier this year both Mr. Mega Man and Little Mega Man mangas, which are great. Everyone who reads them says one of them is great, and they say the other one is okay, but it's different for every person. they'll be like, "Oh, Mr. Mega Man's amazing! It's so cool," and "Oh, Little Mega Man's oh, it's cute. It's just okay." But another person will say the opposite thing. So if you're not familiar, Mr. Mega Man is what if Mega Man grew up and didn't have to fight anymore. Wily's not causing any trouble anymore, and he decided to do the obvious thing and become a dentist. And all the robot masters all have jobs, and some of them are bored with their jobs, and some of them are not doing well in their career. Some of them are happy, but all of them come to Rock and ask him for like advice about life. So it's kind of somber, but it slowly builds to a more, action-y event. But it's super fun to just see what all these guys might do if they didn't have to deal with any fighting or anything. I think Starman becomes like a social media influencer. Some of them are obvious, like Cutman works at a barbershop, that kind of stuff. So that's pretty fun. And then Little Mega Man is like a wacky stories set in like classic Mega Man era. They're crazy off the wall comedy stuff. So like he encounters new robot masters, like I think one of them called Comfort Man. He's like a mattress. He's like a mattress robot master. Or US Box Art Mega Man is a character in the story. He's like a different character, and he's always in the pose from the cover. He never changes from that pose. The European Box Art Mega Man is a character.
Yeah.
I believe he doesn't show up until Volume 2. I believe they call him French Mega Man. But just silly, wacky stuff. So Mr. Mega Man is like, interesting and somber and slice of life stuff, and Little Mega Man is wacky off the wall humor.
I was.
Otherwise, we've got. Oh sure, what's that?
I was covering those comics when they're coming out in Japan on my channel, and they're very wacky, but a lot of fun for sure. Go on.
Yeah. So otherwise, we've got a lot of art books coming back. So Mega Man X Dive is also a little delayed. We had to move around a lot of books, sort of. In the end, it didn't end up really being an issue, but we moved a lot of books to different printers in different countries just in case of tariffs happening. In the end, tariffs don't really affect books, but we did end up moving a lot of projects around that region. So our new art book, Mega Man X Dive Official Complete Works, is going to be coming in the summer. That's a gorgeous art book because the art for that series is just great. I don't know.
Yeah, it's killer.
how they decided to put so much into it, but it's all great, and you get to even see some of the non-X characters because there's a lot of guest characters in the game too. But that art book is awesome. We're also going to be, it's not really announced yet, but we're bringing back all of our official complete works because they're all sold out right now. We're going to be bringing them all back a couple at a time and doing also special editions that you can buy from the Udon store, or just wait and get the regular edition from Amazon. So that should be fun to have all the art books back in stock. And like I said earlier, we're also working on, still in the planning phase, but working on new editions of Ariga's black and white manga, just to get those back all out on the shelves as well. Otherwise, we're pretty much, if there's a Mega Man book that we've done and it's not available, we're probably reprinting it. Like, we're going to do new printings of the two field guides are also sold out right now, so we're going to have new printings of those as well. Those will probably they'll just come back in stock. I don't know if we'll do a special version of them or not.
Nice.
But yeah, we're open since we've got so much Mega Man possibilities now. We can pretty much do anything. We're eager to hear if you guys have ideas. Let us know for sure.
I believe it was announced not too long ago that you guys are working on a new official Complete Works book that has the content from the games that haven't been covered previously. What can we expect from that?
Yeah, I've been slowly chipping away at getting that book together, but it is going to cover pretty much stuff that wasn't in the other complete works. So like, and some of them maybe didn't have enough for their own complete work. So the two featured things in it will be legends. So basically all the key legends art and character art, stuff like that, as well, including Misadventures of Tronbon. So Legends 1 and 2 and Tronbon. And then the ZX games, the two ZX games. So they probably didn't have enough on their own to make their own official complete works. And then we've got lots of little, miscellaneous games that have come out in the years since those art books. So like there's some art from I think maybe the Zero collection and the X collections and the classic collections, things like that. So basically anything that's come out. Also Mega Man 11, that wasn't in official complete works either.
Yeah, that's right.
So anything that's come out since those books that's not in those books, rather than update those to like a new version, we'd rather let's put them in a new book so people don't have to rebuy this whole book and get all the new stuff.
Right. That's going to be pretty cool. And then moving on to Mega Man Adventures, we talked about a little bit about this already. But it's really cool to have another compilation for the Mega Man Archie comics, especially since some of the way later issues were a bit harder to find. But in general, what can we expect from the Adventures collections and any possibility of including the Worlds Collide crossover issues?
Well, we'll probably do more than one version of these collections, but at first we're going to do hardcover oversized collections. If you've ever seen any of the Street Fighter comic hardcovers, really similar to those, and collect 12 issues at a time. And each hardcover will have a new, I believe it's an 8-page story, written by Ian Flynn. I think Ian might have accidentally written an extra page in the first one, so the first one's a little longer than the other ones. I'm bringing back creators who worked on the original stories. So Ryan Jampol is doing the art for the first story, and it's already drawn. It looks pretty cool. And they are going to be set sort of in the time of that volume. So like the volume 1 new story happens at the end of volume 1. So they're all kind of like that. And beyond that, in the future, we might. So we want to do the nice hardcovers to get everything out, but in the future, we might also, think of some other ways to split up that material, like in maybe smaller soft covers or digests or something. So we'll think of something in the future. And right now, we don't have the rights to do the crossovers. Like we technically do have the rights to publish the Mega Man issues of the crossover, but we don't have the right to include the Sonic characters in those issues. So like we could technically cut them, somehow black them out and publish those issues, but that'd be silly. So we'll get these first 4 volumes. So that there's 55 Archie issues, and the non-crossover issues are nicely work out to 48 issues. So 4 volumes of 12 issues each, and once we get those going, we'll maybe try to see if the Sonic rights holders maybe want to get together and try to do a collection to get that crossover out there. It's a lot of people to deal with though, because it'll be Capcom and Sega and Udon and IDW, assuming they still have the rights when we're at that time. So it's a lot of people to get on the same page to okaying this collection, Luckily, we work with both Capcom and Sega on stuff right now. I mean, we do it because we do a lot of Persona merchandise and books and manga. So that's a Sega property. And we've even done Sonic before. We did the English edition of the History of Sonic the Hedgehog. So it's definitely possible. It's just a lot of people. You gotta hope that everybody's interested enough in doing the work to get it happening.
Yeah. Let's hope it all aligns soon.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of companies are doing crossovers right now. Like IDW, they did Street Fighter Ninja Turtles a couple years ago. There's all kinds of crossovers happening in the industry. It seems to be a thing right now. We've got a lot of people asking us to do Street Fighter crossovers. So hopefully everyone will be interested in doing it.
Yeah, definitely. So my last question is about Mega Man X Mega Missions. It was announced like 7 years ago. It's really exciting, but it seems to have been gotten indefinitely delayed. Is there any status updates about that?
Yeah, it's something we want to get back to. We made covers for it, and we started work on the colors, and then the colors had to be shifted to another project to get it done, and it just kind of fell by the wayside. But it's definitely something we want to get going again. We might. So we're trying to decide now if we should we can just do a colorized version of it like we did with the Mega Man books, or we could first do the original black and white version as part of these new Hitoshi Ariga editions of his manga. So we're still deciding what we should do. I don't know. What do you think? What would you rather see? Would you rather see the original pure version, or would you rather see a colorized fancy version first?
Yeah, I know it'd be a lot more work, but a color version would be really awesome and just like really bring the story to life. But I guess we can ask the viewers in the comments what they would, if they would prefer a black and white or a color version.
I mean, to tell you the truth, the whole reason we started doing the color Ariga versions is because of the Archie comics. As like we're like, oh, there's like a new group of people, American comic readers, who are reading Mega Man stories, and they might not be manga readers. They might not, because there's not a lot of crossover. Like a lot of people be like, oh, black and white, I'm not going to read that. So we decided, what if we colorize it, and with Ariga supervising the coloring, as a Udon colorist, but Ariga approved like the style and all the details and everything. He's very meticulous. He's like, nope, this shoulder pad is this color in my version, that kind of stuff. We wanted to put Ariga's material, because Ariga's stories are so good, but we wanted to put it on the shelf in a shape that looks like a regular comic book, so that people reading the Archie comic would try it out if they weren't willing to try out a full manga.
Yeah, it's definitely a very good point about how, us people in America are used to reading colored books. So, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Well, that's pretty much all for me.
Yeah,
though.
even
go ahead.
Yeah, even any famous black and white American comic eventually makes a color version, like Scott Pilgrim or Bone, because some people just won't do black and white.
Yeah, I guess it just seems lesser than the colored version for obvious reasons. But yeah, that's it for me. Matt, I want to thank you so much for taking your time out to talk with me. I know you guys are hard at work on the next releases, so really appreciate that. Is there anything else you'd like to say to the viewers out there before we sign off?
Oh, just thanks for keeping Mega Man alive while there hasn't been a game. We kind of know what that's like, because we started the Street Fighter comics in between games. It was a few years after Street Fighter 3, and it was something like 5 years after we started the comics, before Street Fighter 4 came along. So we definitely know what it's like to try to keep the fires burning while waiting for a new game. I mean, we all know there's one day going to be a new game. We don't know when it is.
Yeah.
But thanks for supporting this property, and we hope that you'll support our comics too, now that we're doing them.
In the meantime, where can they find you at?
I am Lil Formers on Twitter, just LILFORMERS, and I post, here's a new Udon comic coming out, or here's a little sneak at something that's half finished now and then. Otherwise, check out the Udon. Udon also has their Twitter. Udon, most of our social medias are Udon Ent, like Udon ENT for Udon Entertainment. So we're on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. There's also an Udon Discord, and we usually give everyone on the Discord an early heads up when new stuff is going on for sale on the Udon store. But yeah, that's where you can find me and Udon.
Sweet. Once again, thank you, Matt, for being here today. And as for ShadowRockZX, stay tuned for all things Mega Man and other things like that. Until the next one, rock on and have a great time zone.